Right now, let's go live to BMO Training Ground. This is where Toronto FC head coach John Herdman is speaking to reporters.
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I think now it's working.
Still, the video's still a little blurry, but yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. You can continue.
Sounds good. Is Neil there? Does he have a question, or do we want to jump right to Zoom?
No, I'm here, thank you. John, I have to ask you a question on another topic. As you know, Canada soccer is in the spotlight for alleged actions at the Olympics. I know you're no longer involved with Canada soccer, but Kevin Blue today cited a systematic ethical shortcoming. And I wonder if you could tell us how prevalent you think spying is in world football, and during your time as Canada coach, were you a victim of it, or did you take part in it?
Yeah, I mean, I arrived back late last night from the Olympics. Had the chance to watch my boy play and obviously celebrate that moment with him. And it reminds you again how hard players work to get to that moment, the sacrifices they make with them and their families. It's certainly a big moment. So landing to that news was a surprise and a shock. I think firstly I'm devastated for the players. I think we have to, in moments like this, respect that they've put some work in to be there. I've been a head coach of a team that's competed for medals, won medals, and those players need the spotlight on their talents at this moment in time. This isn't a time to sort of nitpick about scouting at tournaments. I think, whatever's happened, I think Canada Soccer are going to be conducting their internal reviews, which is the right thing to do. I'll be happy to help them with that process for sure, to tell them about the experiences we had in our competitions, etc. But for me, this is about the players. We're really putting spotlight on something that isn't, what this Olympics is about, which is their talent and their moment to shine. And I think the quicker we get back there, the better.
I think that's why it is news, though, because it is taking place at the Olympics. I'm just wondering if you can give us your thoughts on how prevalent you think this kind of thing is in world football.
Yeah, I think, I'll go through that process with Canada Soccer. I think anything I say now, it's just going to bring more spotlight to this situation. As I say, I'd like the spotlight to be back on our players as quickly as we can. For me, the integrity of the review is important, and if I'm asked to contribute, I'll be there. I think everyone will be aware of situations from, previous coaches, etc., that have been public. I think there's things in the public domain that, these things have happened before. But for me, I'm happy to help Canada Soccer in any way I can. But I would say I just want this to be about the players. I really feel for them. They have a game tomorrow, and knowing what it's like in those environments, there's enough pressure as it is. They just need to be able to focus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand that you want to make it about the players, but can you say whether or not you had knowledge of or involvement in any type of drone use or spying during your time?
Yeah, I mean, I come back to the question, which is, this isn't Olympic Games. It's the biggest event on the planet. It's a sporting event that has massive integrity, and for me, we have to make sure that those things are upheld always. I've always gone into Olympic Games, World Cups, big events with integrity in mind and the ability to compete at the highest level following the rules and processes. So, from my side, as I say, I'll help Canada Soccer where I can with that review, but I'm highly confident that in my time as a head coach at an Olympic Games or World Cup, we've never been involved in any of those activities.
You mentioned the effect it has on the players at the Olympics. What is the effect on Canada Soccer as a whole? This is a program that's been looked at around the world as a success, especially, people in this country think it's a massive success. To have this tarnish on it at such a high-profile time, what does it do to the program as a whole?
Well, I think they'll go through their own review and determine the facts and get the clarity. I think it's an emotional moment, I think, for everyone at this period of time. I think being at the Olympics is, everything is spent around the ethos of sport. That's an important statement for everyone, and the integrity of the Olympics. So I think Canada Soccer will go through their internal review. I'm sure it'll be thorough, and they'll be able to probably reveal the facts, the context, and some of the elements that may be important to this situation. That's for them to go through.
Yeah, thank you, Coach, and I appreciate everybody's interest on this topic. But if you have any questions about Leagues Cup as well and the match tomorrow, I think we would appreciate taking those as well.
John, about the match, can you give us an update on injury situation?
Good news. Good news. You know, I think we're able to actually field a full roster. We won't be bringing Henry Wingo. He's going to stay for additional training here in Toronto, so he'll miss this match. We just feel it's better for him to push a good couple of hard days training to get him ready, hopefully, for the Pachuca game. So fingers crossed we get to see Henry make his debut in this Leagues Cup. DeAndre Kerr is a doubt with that foot. It's just irritation again. He didn't train today, so we're just going to reassess him one more time. And we'll make a final call after some sort of medical evaluation. But I feel like we're on that other side of the curve now. It feels like we're getting a little bit of momentum around the injury situation. Thanks.
Sorry, and is there a different, you mentioned it at the beginning a little bit, but is there a different feeling to this game? I mean, you're just playing the Red Bulls, which you're used to doing. I know it'll be different when Pachuca comes to town, but is there a different feeling going into this?
Yeah, I mean, there's just been a light, bright mood around the camp this week. I mean, I missed a day and a half because I had like a crazy trip back over Europe for one match. But there's just been a real lightness around the group. I think just the smell of the trophy and a different setting, a different mentality. Like I say, when you go to Red Bulls, you're not picturing that like that's an away game. We've got to treat this like an away game. We've got to treat it like it's a do-or-die cup match. And you know, you're in a little group. You've got to try and win that first game. So we'll be just doing everything we can to put it all out there. And if it goes to penalties, great. We'll try and win the penalties to have the best situation to come up against Pachuca, who we know have got that championship medal. So, you know, Red Bulls might give us a great opportunity to get some good points.
John, are there updates on Brandon, Tyrese, and Alonzo?
Yeah, so Brandon was training non-contact today for the first time, which was great news. We had the yellow penny off, so I think he was happy with that. He was able to engage in all parts of the session. Tyrese is back actually running on the field, which is nice.
Okay, so we've been listening live at BMO Training Ground. This is where Toronto FC head coach John Herdman has been speaking to reporters. It's, you know, started off with questions about the prevalence of spying in the world of football. He said that, you know, finding out about this in terms of the Canada women's soccer team, that it was news to him, it was a shock, but he wants the spotlight to be on the players, and that he's going to reserve commenting, that he's waiting for the integrity of the review. That is important. And then he was also asked about injuries on the team. He said, look, we are on the other side of the curve right now, finally getting momentum on the situation.